I was going to college, and I was a commuter student. And growing up, there was a local credit union, there was a parish credit union called Saint Famille, meaning Holy Family, and that was a big part of our world. They lent my father money when nobody else would because he was a shoe shop worker. So I was going to school part-time but looking for work, and one day he went in, just talking to the treasurer, as he was called at the time, and his name was Roger Bissonette. He served in a lot of capacities over his career, CUNA and everything else, and my father said, gee, my son's looking for work, because they talk about the family, and he said, well, have him come in and see me. And so I did, and so I started working at Saint Famille for part-time. And so I was doing that for about 3 years, worked full-time in the summer, full-time during school vacations. And then towards the end of my time, it was May of that year, and I was invited to a chapter meeting. And I met Norm Nolet at that chapter meeting. And if you know the character that Norm is, he played a couple of pranks on me. In August, he went to the nursing home to visit his grandmother, and my grandmother was in the same room. You talk about fate. My mother was there visiting my grandmother. I wasn't, but my picture along with my sister's was on a nightstand next to my grandmother's bed. And as he was walking out, he looked and said, gee, I think I know him. And my mother said, yes, that's my son, and he works at St. Famille. He said, yep. The next thing I know, he called me up. And, then a few days later, I went and met with him at his home. Didn't come to the building, met him at his home, and then within 2 days after that, he offered me a job. Well, when I showed up for my interview, because he said, come to my house, don't come to the office, because I live in Lewiston. Yeah. And I got a suit, and I got a haircut, and I got my resume, and he had just got home from work, so he didn't have a shirt on. He answered the door, and he says, first thing I do when I get home is take my shirt off, and I get comfortable. So, we were on the DP system. If we were down, call the league. If we need vouchers, call the league. There was that league, that was out there somewhere. And I didn't fully understand him when he hired me because the name league was in our name. I really didn't fully understand it was a corporate credit union. But when I came on board, prior to that, there was himself and another lady named Maureen, and he hired myself and another lady named Vassar within the same month. So we went from 2 to 4 employees in 1 month, but it was a very simple operation at the time, but he knew because of some changes at the Federal Reserve Bank that gave credit unions access to their services that we would be wanting to do a lot more. So he wanted to, increase the number of people to start building towards that. So obviously the first day I came to realize real quickly that it was not a function of the league per se, it was a corporate credit union, What do you do for work? Well, I work in the credit union for credit unions. And then, how does that work? So even with my relatives that, after all these years, I still don't think some of them know what I actually do. Oh, I get questions like, well, what are your car loan rates? It was really plain vanilla. There was no, it was shares, loan certificates, wire transfers. I was there for the first automated settlement, things like that. So it was really very, very basic. But we did everything. We all answered the phone. We all took transactions. Back in 1984, we started helping credit unions move away from using their bank as a depository. And that just grew and grew and grew and became very important because the relationship with banks and credit unions changed. It wasn't as friendly as it used to be. When I started working for Norm, that phone rang, you better answer that phone, that's a member. And that kind of service mentality always stayed with me. And I think it's a culture that we've had for a long time, and I think it's served everybody well. But I think over the years there's just been so many things that happened technologically that have helped us change the way we serve our members, that have helped us to really help them, but without having to build a big operation to do it. It's a touchy event, right? The whole 2008, 2009. But you think about, all the funds that we lost, and There were 26 corporate credit unions, and we dropped to 11. And there were many people that didn't think we should continue. But, we did, and we got almost all that money back. And, that's a huge milestone, but that took a lot of effort on all of our parts. Board supporting our independence, and the employees sticking with it, not getting nervous about it, and the members supporting it. But that was a huge milestone, I think, that I look back and I'm glad we stuck it out, because there's others that didn't, and you probably know, like in the Midwest, where there's had to be lawsuits and things.
Congratulations on your retirement, Steve. I'm super happy for you, and I know we both know you're going to be greatly missed in northern New England. I just wanted to say that you're going to be missed nationally as well, and at least more importantly from my perspective, I'm going to miss you a lot. You are one of those stand-up guys who has completely embraced the people helping people philosophy, and every day you come to work, that comes through in what you're doing.
You probably hear this from a lot of people when they retire, but I've been able to work at a level in the credit unions where I deal with people like yourself and credit union executives and the people that work in the credit unions. And I don't want to say anything about the public, because we need the public to use credit unions. But it's a different level of relationship when you're working with people like yourself and the people that run and manage credit unions. So it's really been a partnership. It's been a really good partnership, and people appreciate what we do, and then vice versa. We appreciate being able to work and serve for them. So I think it's been, the people aspect of it has been really, really fun. I've enjoyed all the people I've been able to be surrounded by and work with. So that would be a part you would miss, because you'd be, that would be gone. Well, I really think that relationships are the most important thing. From a business perspective, to be someone that they can trust. I think you got to build a trustful relationship. Someone that comes in this job, quite frankly, they want to learn what the operation is, but that won't be the thing they need to do first, in my opinion. My opinion is that they really want to know and learn who the credit unions are and how we support them, because I think you have to have some level of trust.
Steve Roy is one of the most compassionate, thoughtful people that I've ever met in the credit union industry. He has helped so many credit unions when they needed a hand, to be a confidant, or just to share a joke with. Steve, congratulations on your retirement. They truly broke the mold when they made Steve Roy, and it's going to be hard to imagine not only Tricorp, but the credit union movement without Steve Roy. Steve, thanks for everything you've done for me personally, professionally, and for all that you've done for credit unions.
Well, I've known Steve Roy for 35 years, from the time when he had a mustache and hair until today. I've worked with him for 35 years. I could never have asked for a better boss than him. He's helped me. We've worked together with Lotus way back when, to stuffing envelopes, working trade show booths, to showing me little tips on how to golf. I wish Steve all the best. We're really going to miss him, but I know he's going to enjoy his time off from the corporate.
I've been fortunate to know Steve Roy for almost all of my entire career, starting from when Steve was a young employee, a vice president of League Central of Maine Federal Credit Union in his very early days, to his assumption of the leadership of, now Tricorp Federal Credit Union for many decades now. And throughout all of those years, I've been fortunate to observe him, to see his leadership style, what great service he provides in always putting credit unions and the people he's just talking to first. And he's been a friend to me, a confidant from time to time, and just a real pleasure to know and to observe throughout his entire credit union career. We're going to miss him greatly. And thank you, Steve. for all that you've done for Vermont credit unions, New England credit unions, and beyond. Best wishes to both you and Carol for everything that the next phase of life has to offer.
One of the things that I love about Steve is that he doesn't take himself too seriously. I think that's why so many people like him. And the best story about Steve, and example of that, is, I wasn't there for it, but the story that I hear over and over again, when he was in the process of trying to raise some money for some event, and he and one of his compatriots dressed as sumo wrestlers in a sumo wrestler suit and wrestled in front of a crowd. I would have loved to have been there for that.
I do hope that for the credit unions that we have worked with and served, that they felt that, I have always made them the center of our being and why we exist, to serve members. That's always been important to me. It's not, yes, you have to grow your business, obviously. You've got to grow your business, you've got to find income streams and things of that nature. But to me, I've always felt if we took care of our employees, so they take care of our members in a good manner, that everything would flow from that. And I hope that's what they remember me by.